Hi, my name is Petra Buergelt, and I'm originally from Germany, to be precise from East Germany, from the former East Germany. And I have been migrating to New Zealand in 1997, and then from New Zealand to Australia. So I'm basically calling 3 countries my home and seeing myself really as a citizen of the world. So I really would like to share a little bit, or take you on a journey which I think makes the palatable the experience of transformative learning and experiences throughout my lifetime, really. So for the first 19 years of my life, I grew up in East Germany. My life is simple. I grew up in nature. Life is lived in cooperation. Relationships are paramount. People know each other. People care for each other. They look after each other. Together in teams, we accomplish the most amazing things and have lots of fun playing together. Everybody is in employment. There's virtually no crime. Education and health is of very high quality and it's free. And there's true equality among people, among men and women. But then the so-called reunification is happening. And really literally overnight, everything breaks down. The country, the culture I have been growing up in for 19 years of my life suddenly doesn't exist anymore. It's like migrating without even moving because my whole environment changes. And not only my whole environment changes, but the environment for everybody else in the former East Germany and in the East is changing, literally overnight. And there's utter chaos. Suddenly we experience unemployment, competition, crime is soaring, relationships break down, health breaks down. I feel disoriented. I feel lost. My whole country feels disoriented and feels lost. And I break down. Fast forward, I'm 19. I'm a fencer in the former East Germany in the junior national team. I'm fencing at the nationals. For a whole weekend, I experience a very strange state. There's utter silence in my head. You know, the little voice which typically shatters constantly in my head and which is typically disempowering, suddenly is not there anymore. It's very quiet in my head. And because of that, I think I experienced being really connected to everything. And I experienced everything very intensely. And I see everything in slow motion. As a result of that, as a junior, I become 3rd in the nationals. Wow, I always have been good, but I have never been that good. I realized that I always have had that ability within me, but I never could fully access it. I start wondering, what if I could always be in that space? What if I could always access myself fully and be truly who I am? What if all people could access this state and be truly who they are? I imagine what would be possible. I'm 27. I'm disillusioned by capitalism, so I migrate to New Zealand because that's the country which I traveled in and which reminded me very much of East Germany. But as a migrant, I experienced lots of different challenges of, suddenly having, not being able to use my own language and to start from scratch, feeling like a child in a body, in an adult body. And having to deal with a whole different culture which is just slightly different but different enough for me to feel out of sync. And so there is lots of challenges which challenge me to my core. But because of those challenges, I'm disintegrating, but I'm then also bit by bit finding my feet and putting myself together again, but as a different person, and a person which is much more closer to who I truly are. Because I have choices and I make those choices, and I can create myself as who I am and who I want to be. And my whole worldview shifts. I really get to know myself in breaking down and breaking through those experiences. And so I get to know myself, but also the world in a much more intimate way, which I never could access before. And for me, that is the gift of migrating. And in that, migrating is very much a transformative pathway which challenges us again and again and again. And it's really, like you jump into the unknown, and then you have to be in that space of uncertainty. But then the more I am in this space of uncertainty, I discover that I can create whatever I want and who I want to be. Oops. However, I'm 39 and I'm increasingly cynically and resigned about the state of the world. I give up on the world and myself. But then I participate in my very first transformative education without knowing that it is actually transformative education. I do the Landmark Forum. In just 3 days, I experienced, together with about 200 people from all walks of life, a profound shift. A shift in my worldview, which culminates again in the whole world opening up. I see things which I have never seen before. I experienced this heightened state of awareness, which I had experienced as a fencer. And I suddenly get, wow, this transformative education and learning is actually what I have been looking for to access this state, this heightened state where there is no chatter in my head again, no disempowering voices, and where I really can connect fully with myself and with other people. This education is giving access to that state. And it's giving access to this state to lots of people at the same time and very fast, within 3 days. Because of that, I experience hope. This education and this transformative learning, education and learning, can really create a shift, or the shift which is required for humanity, I think, to turn the tide. So for 5 years, then, I intensively engage in transformative education every day of my life. It's like a roller coaster. It's a constant breakdown, breakthrough, breakdown, breakthrough. And I'm starting to get into the habit of constantly breaking down and breaking through, because I know with each time I'm breaking through something, or breaking down and then breaking through, I'm peeling off another layer of what's not me. And with each layer I'm peeling away, the me is coming forward more and more and more. At the same time, parallel, I'm joining academia, and I'm studying the factors that facilitate people and communities thriving in the face of change, adversity, complexity, and chaos. What I'm really, as a researcher and as an academic scholar, what I'm really interested in, given my life experience, is what's the transformative pathways which are most powerfully giving people an access to this state of being fully in connection with oneself and with everybody around us. Given my own experiences, intensely research people migrating and preparing and responding to disasters, given that disasters is very disruptive, or often perceived as disruptive, but it's actually really creating the opportunity for us as humans to break down, to reflect on ourselves, and to reassemble us as whole communities and as whole countries and even humanity to go through this transformative process collectively, and to have us emerging collectively as more humans and humanity. I'm 44 and I have the privilege and honor to work with Indigenous Australian people in remote communities up in the north of Australia. And the more I'm working with Indigenous people, the more I realize how sophisticated their worldview is, how much more they see, and how much more they are in tune with nature and connected with nature and with themselves and with the spiritual world. And I realized that the Indigenous worldview can create, facilitating, or it has been facilitating transformative learning way before we in the Western world discovered transformative learning and education. Transformative learning and education has been, from what I can see, been built into their whole way of living and being in the world. And what really inspires me is that all of the transformative learning and education Indigenous peoples are engaging in and have been engaging in the case of Australian Indigenous people for over 60,000 years, is to live in harmony with nature, and by living in harmony with nature, living in harmony with themselves and with each other. Now, if we can accomplish that and return to this state of being, and have this state of being arising within ourselves, I think then we are turning the tide here. So for me, transformative learning and education holds the potential really for humanity to transcend in a very authentic way all the challenges we're experiencing at the moment at the planet, and really come into a way of being as humans in which we're creating a whole new realm of being, and hence creating a world which we are living in harmony with nature and each other. And from my experience as a fencer, I know that this state of being is going to enable us to access the most beautiful world we could, we can't actually even imagine. I don't know how it would look like. I just know that for us to be in this space and create together in this space, that we would come up with the most amazing things where life becomes joyful, where life is bliss, and where life is play, and where we are in perfect health, and where we can be in communion with other people effortlessly, and not only with other people but with nature, where we can actually start hearing nature again, where we can start being and being in communion with nature. And who knows, it will be a huge journey of discovery, where we're discovering things which we never dreamt of possible, which will become possible. So for me, transformative learning and education is creating a new way of being and living that gives rise to humanity, to reconnect with who we really are, and to rediscover who we are really as human beings, but also to rediscover who we are within the wider scheme of the universe and what our place in this universe is. And living in this space has me constantly being enlivened and alive and excited, and just playing with people who are engaging in this space has me being truly myself and becoming more and more myself. And I'm so grateful for engaging in this conference and continuing engaging with transformative learning scholars and practitioners, and really seeding transformative education into every corner of the world so that this new possibility can arise.